Welcome everybody, my name is EruptionFang and this is episode 8, the season finale of Genlock, titled Identity Crisis. So the episode opens up with a call from Migas. Turns out Weller created a signal which wipes out all nanotech, resulting in literally no one dying, except for Weller. So the Union plans to attack once more, but this time our heroes will be there to lure out the nemesis by calling him a big dunderhead. It works and they fight him, going solo, mind melding, all sorts of mixes and matches where they figure the only way to defeat him is if they all meld together. But Chase is hesitant at first, which delays them too long, to which they are all about to exceed their uplink time. Everyone returns to their bodies except for Chase, resulting in him being forever stuck in Genlock's program. Nemesis then tracks down the ship where our characters are at, but fortunately for them, Leon is taking control of Sinclair's Holon, and he's there to not really do anything, honestly kinda gets his ass kicked. Fortunately, Miranda saves him, playing her Miranda card just long enough for everyone to remech. But thanks to the power of friendship and more importantly, modding yourself out to maximum stats as well as mind melding with a total of 5 people, they are capable of defeating Nemesis, where Chase ultimately kills him. Although he does allude to there being many other copies out there. So the day is saved. Leon is now in a coma. This is apparently the first fight the Polity has ever won. Miranda says her and Chase have been dead for a long time. And our characters return to Artasa for season 2. What a finale, and by that I mean, it was a finale. I didn't think it was bad, let me get that point across first. I didn't think it was a bad way to end the season. The biggest thing for me this episode was Nemesis. I don't think what happened here was good for a few reasons. First and foremost, Nemesis being Chase, in my opinion, never meant anything. The 3 people it had a direct connection to were Chase, Weller, and Miranda. Weller is dead, so that's that. But Chase never really gave a shit that this was him, and Miranda didn't either. So it's just like, what was the point of it being Chase in the first place? I feel as though you could just replace him with anyone. Say for example Sinclair. What would have changed? He still would have been a mind inside of a Holon fighting for the Union. He still stands alone because no other Union members have a Holon. Chase could question killing a man because that in and of itself is morally questionable, and teamwork prevails. But this being Chase, even if it is also just a copy, never came into play. And I think that was a huge missed opportunity regarding Miranda, because Miranda doesn't even know that there might be other iterations out there. As far as she's aware, this was her Chase, and there was even a moment this episode where she steps out of her mech and says, "Why are you doing this?" And you know what happens? He doesn't attack her. He doesn't even try. And so when a moment like that happens, you'd expect Miranda to think something along the lines of, oh, I can get through to him, or perhaps I can save him. You expect her to jump in when Julian is about to kill him, asking that he not kill her Chase, because what if? What if there is something that can be done? But no, it doesn't do that. Later on, she's just like, oh, he's been dead for a while. Like, what was that scene earlier then? Like, I genuinely don't get it. As well as the overall mystique of Nemesis has just lost a lot of pizzazz because now there's hundreds of them. And don't get me wrong, I don't think that's a bad idea, but it happens so soon that Nemesis is just going to become some high tier enemy that the characters are gonna kill over and over again. Just to throw a comparison at you, it's like Texas from Red vs. Blue. So spoilers if you haven't seen up to season 10. But yeah, Texas is an AI, she's a copy, and there are tons of copies that exist. But the first time the series introduces her, we're with her for a significant amount of time. One single version. We get to see how much of a badass she is, how dangerous she is, and eventually we learn she's a copy. And later a new copy gets introduced, until the point where you have 100 copies of her. Yet somehow hundreds of her isn't as cool or interesting as one of her. It loses how unique it is. But also before we got there, you got to see what she was like as the show built up this character as though she was an individual and not a horde. But here it's just immediate. I don't feel like I learned anything about him. I don't feel as though the show wanted you to care about Nemesis because it wants you to think that he's not unique. So don't treat him as though he is. And that's the sort of feeling I got, like it just happened. No one had any emotional connection to anything, no one cared that this was Chase, and they just killed him and moved on with their lives. And I'm sure they're just gonna kill all of the other ones and move on as well. They're gonna become numb to it, as is the audience. You know what it reminds me of potentially? If you ever saw Teen Titans Trouble in Tokyo, it seems like to me they might be setting up like a Brushogun type thing, where in that movie he was being used as a tool to create beings that terrorize Japan. And perhaps the real Chase's mind is still in fact alive, and just being used to copy and paste villains for the Union. But even if that is the case, it still doesn't excuse Miranda and her lack of caring in the moment. So that's all I pretty much have to say about Nemesis. In terms of the action, I still thought it was great. I legitimately have yet to think that it's been anywhere near bad the entire series. The sequence between Kazu and Cammy might be my favorite this whole episode. A lot of this episode was just action. I think Chase is better off not having a body. The only thing I don't like is that now he has the ability to max out all of his stats freely, and that's just overpowered. It was the one thing I didn't like about it. But what about the end credits scene? Sinclair is alive! That he is, and he's part of the Union, or undercover, or disguised as one of them. Where does this go? Who knows, because we still don't know anything about the Union. Yep, nope, still nothing. Season 1 in the books, villain still no motive. But that's ultimately something to be discussed in the review. There were a lot of friendship moments reassuring Chase that he's his own person. These scenes were all sweet. Not much to say about it in this video. All in all, this episode was mainly action, which was fine and it was good, but I can't really talk about that. As a whole, I thought the finale was okay. I don't think it was bad by any means, but to me it felt like it lacked that sort of internal conflict. Like external conflict is great, but no one really seemed morally faced by any obstacle. So I thought it was decent, not the best episode, and it could have done more.